James chapter 3, verses 1 through 12. We can bless or we can curse with our tongues. Okay. Now this is what I was talking about, the teachers. My brethren, let not many of you become teachers. Lord have mercy. You know, I read that, Monique, I read that verse. I was a couple of days on that one verse. Let not many of you become teachers, knowing that you shall receive a stricter judgment. The words that come out of a Bible teacher or preacher's mouth. And that's what, you guys remember me saying some time ago that me and Reverend Sheila and others and Gerald, you just can't say anything. You just can't say, I mean, I can't even say what y'all say. I mean, none of us just say it, you know what I'm saying. But I really can't. You know what I mean? Huh? I mean, you really can't, because there's a stricter judgment. Because something that I will say, you're listening, and if it's not, whether it's in the word or not, sometimes you can't tell the fish from the bones, and you suck it all in, and then I can cause somebody to stumble, or Reverend Sheila could cause somebody to stumble, or Gerald can cause somebody to stumble, or your Bible teachers could cause somebody to stumble, or those who teach little children could cause these children to stumble. And you know what the Lord said about it, if you cause my little ones to stumble. Woo! It's better we hang a millstone around your neck and throw you into the sea. You know? So I have to be careful about what I say, Gerald.
You use an example about fish and bones, and I remember growing up, like, you know, we would have whole catfish or even buffalo, you know, like fish. My mom would always, like, you know, mush it up so she could take the bones out because I was little. And, you know, I couldn't get the bones out myself. And I think it's the same way about, you know, being a teacher, is because you're feeding people and they are not at the same spiritual level you are, spiritual growth, and they don't know the bones. They can't get the bones out, you know. They may just swallow them whole, swallow them the way you give them because you gave it to them. And my mom, when she would give me the fish that way, I would just eat. I wouldn't even look. I mean, I didn't even know to look, you know, for the bones, you know. And it's the same way that you would do with a child, like giving them food. It's the same way when you give them spiritual food, making sure that they can take whatever it is in the consistency that they need, you know.
That's a great example. So ministers and teachers, we're in the deboning business. Seriously, we're in the deboning business. Give it to people as simply and as pure as you know how to give it to them. Not mixed with our stuff, because that's what we do a lot. You know, we will have a bad day and not even pray and get up and teach some folk, and whatever was on us gets on the people. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at verse 2. For we all stumble, all of us, in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body. Verse 3. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn the whole body. And y'all know, anybody ever ridden a horse before? And you know how powerful, how big and strong they are. But with that bridle, you can direct the horse, one that's been broken. You know, you can direct them just with that little bit in the mouth. That, I don't know how much they weigh, but that, you know, however many pound horse, you can direct them just with your arms.
About a ton.
Was that?
About a ton.
About a ton. Now, you don't have the strength to direct a ton. But you can direct it with your tongue. That was a Freudian slip, but anyway. But that bridle, you don't have the strength to do, but that bridle directs them, you know, whichever way they need to go. And even though you're not strong enough to do it. Okay? But look at verse 4. Look also at ships. Although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot desires. So even the tongue is a little member. Isn't it small? Just poke your tongue at it. Little thing. Can get you in a world of trouble. Such a little member. And it says here, and boast great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. We can set things on fire by our mouths. What we say can be much more dangerous than what we do. We can say something. You can say something over the phone and cause somebody to freak out. You can say something that can plant such a seed of fear in people that you can mess them up for a while by what you say. You know. You can say a word that'll scare people more than a scary movie. Okay. So I'm just encouraging all of us to watch what we say. Look at verse 6. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. Ain't that the truth? The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire by hell. Wow. If we use our tongues in a wrong way, that stuff comes straight from hell. And that's rough, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
When we say things that we shouldn't say, that comes from hell. And the devil is happy that we're using our tongues to bring down the kingdom of God, to set something on fire by what we say. Look at verse 7. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man can tame the tongue. It is unruly evil, full of deadly poison. With it, we bless our God and Father. And with it, the same tongue, y'all. And with it, we curse men who have been made in the similitude of God, or in the likeness of God. We know that by Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Let us make man in our image, right? So we're made like God. We have the, God holds us accountable in everything. But with that tongue that God gave us, we use it to curse. And then we turn around and try to praise and bless God with the same tongue. I know the Lord must think all of us are schizophrenic. Don't know what to do. Don't know what to say. Saying everything. And God is saying, well, I can't use that. Because you can't make up your mind what you want to say. Or how you want to be. So you want to pray to God for a blessing. And turn around and say something crazy to a man or a woman that's made in the image of God. God is saying, that's just crazy. Stop. He's saying that we shouldn't do that. Don't use your tongue to bless God and then curse mankind. You know? Jay.
I had two thoughts. First one is, it's crazy how we watch what we say, like around our boss, or around your teacher, parents, all that kind of stuff, but we don't see God in the same light. Like, he's always around, and you're not caring about what you say. But if I'm at work, I'm looking around the corner before I say anything, or, you're just so aware on a regular basis in that sense, but you can't apply the same awareness 24/7. I don't know why there's disconnect. And then two, with our generation, I think we take light to like Facebook and Twitter. We're such a social network, and that tongue, even though it's not speaking.
Girl, you're speaking something now, girl. You're saying something now.
It's so much stuff that's put out there, and people don't have the same mentality about what's coming out of their mouth just because they typed it. And sometimes I just don't even like to get on because my timeline is full of just negativity, madness, folks complaining, and I don't get why people don't understand. It's the same concept regardless of the fact that I'm reading it, but you're still speaking it even though you're not saying it directly to me. So it just takes it to a whole another level that our generation, I think, doesn't think about.
And you know the sad part about it? I think we all know this, but whatever is electronic, whatever is sent electronically is out there forever. Now, you might forget what I say, but if I type it, that's, that email is floating around forever. Text messages, same thing. So actually it potentially has even more power because it can be out there for 25 years. You can get something and forward it and forward it and forward it. You don't know where that's going to end up. And it never disappears. Emails we've sent 10 years ago are still floating around. That's a little scary. So watch how you communicate. Yeah.
What you say when you communicate.
That's right. That's right. What you say when you communicate. And the thing about Facebook, whatever you say, even if it's negative or positive, whatever you said to someone, everyone who's your friend hears it too. So you're not just talking to one person, you're talking to.
I got like 50.
You don't know how many.
I don't
Really.
even know.
So you could be spreading negativity, and when you stand before God, He's going to ask you about that thing, that crazy stuff you type on Facebook. He's going to ask you about that too. Okay. It's verse 10, I think. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Does a spring send forth fresh water and bitter water from the same opening? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Thus, no spring yields both salt water and fresh. So we need to decide how we're going to use this thing. We need to decide and be accountable, really, for how we use the mouths that God has given us. We shouldn't be blessing and cursing. Shouldn't be cursing at all. A lot of people don't realize, because they've taken some things in the Old Testament out of context, a lot of people actually think that they can curse other people, even in the house of God. And that's okay. Now, I don't mean a curse word. I mean speak a negative thing and hope it happens to them. That's satanic. That's witchcraft. That's crazy. That's dangerous. We can't do that. We can't just say whatever, and because we say sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost and God is okay with it. God is watching everything we say, and what we say, when it bears witness with what He has said, there's power behind it. But I'm telling you, if we speak out of both sides of our mouths too much, there's no power in anything. Well, put it like this. The power is canceling out each other, because there is power, but it's just one is undoing the other. So we have got to decide to speak forth good things, not just on other folk, on ourselves. Now here's a thing. We need to walk in humility, okay? But don't speak those bad things on yourself that maybe you've heard growing up. Maybe you've heard other people say about you. Or maybe you don't say them anymore, but you just think them. I'm not worthy of this, or I don't deserve that, or don't think like that. Be humble before God. But whatever God has said to you, or whatever He has for you, that's what He wants you to speak for. Not in pride. So there's a balance. Not prideful, but just being humble and knowing who you are. Because when you know who you are, you'll be able to speak a word of life to somebody else. And it not be a prideful and a boastful word. It's just life. People need life. People want to be encouraged, So for a whole week, think about the words that you can say, or think about a particular person or a group of people that you can encourage. I'm not saying lie to them. I'm just saying think of the good things that you see, or the potentially good things that you see. How can you bless them? And then next week, tell me if there was a change in their attitude, or a change in the way they begin to speak, because they were around positive, God-filled words. Can we do that? Let's just change it. Think of someone that you can encourage, someone that you're around all the time, that you can speak some good stuff into their lives. All right?